Right, 47 degrees in Adelaide, but only 31 in Darwin. How often does that happen? Is your area about to cop a significant weather shift in the next 72 hours? Currently, the Bureau of Meteorology has severe weather warnings active across 3 states, affecting over 8 million Australians with extreme heat, dangerous fire conditions, and the potential for severe thunderstorms. I'll break down exactly when these conditions hit your location, give you specific timing for Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, Hobart, Darwin and Canberra, and we'll look at what the models are showing for the weekend. Chuck your location in the comments right now because tomorrow I'll be doing personalised forecasts for the areas you guys are asking about. Sydney currently sitting at 38 degrees, tomorrow climbing to 40 before a southerly buster arrives around 6 p.m, dropping you back to 28 by midnight. Melbourne, you are looking at 44 today, 46 tomorrow afternoon. No relief until Saturday morning when a front brings you down to 23. Brisbane, 34 degrees. Storms developing this afternoon around 3. Could be severe. Clearing Friday morning. Perth, 41 today, 43 tomorrow. Sea breeze brings minor relief Friday arvo. Adelaide, the hot one today at 47, holding at 45 tomorrow. Finally, a cool change Saturday, dropping you to 28. Hobart, you are the lucky ones at 26 today, 28 tomorrow. Perfect conditions continuing. Darwin, 31 degrees, monsoonal trough bringing afternoon storms, 70% chance each day. Canberra, 42 today, 40 tomorrow. Winds increasing Friday ahead of a change. Now, here is the thing about this heat. It is not just the temperatures themselves, it is the duration and the compounding factors. Most of southeast Australia has been running 5 to 8 degrees above average for a week straight. That means the ground is baked, infrastructure is stressed, and people are already fatigued. When you add total fire ban days across South Australia, Victoria and southern New South Wales tomorrow, this becomes a critical situation. Fire danger ratings are sitting at extreme to catastrophic across multiple districts. If you're in a bushfire-prone area, you need to action your plan today, not tomorrow. Let me show you what's driving all this. We've got a massive high-pressure system parked over the Tasman Sea, basically acting like a brick wall, blocking any cool changes from pushing through. Meanwhile, a heat trough is extending from Central Australia right down to the coast, dragging all that inland heat toward populated areas. The Access G model and the European model are in pretty good agreement on the broad pattern, but there is one significant difference I'll get to in about 4 minutes that could change everything for Queensland. For regional New South Wales, Newcastle 39 degrees, Wollongong 37 with that evening southerly change. Coffs Harbour at 33, storms tomorrow could bring 20 to 30 millimetres. Wagga Wagga 45 degrees, Dubbo 44. This is genuinely dangerous heat inland. Tamworth 42, Albury 46, Orange 38. Victoria S copping the worst. Geelong 45 tomorrow, Ballarat 41, Bendigo 47, Shepparton 48 degrees, Mildura could touch 49. Saturday relief will be dramatic, temperatures dropping 15 to 20 degrees in an hour as the front moves through. Queensland S setup is completely different. Gold Coast at 33, Sunshine Coast 34, Townsville 32, Cairns 31, Toowoomba 36. The coast is being moderated by sea breezes, but inland's another story. Rockhampton at 39, Mount Isa 42, Longreach 45. Here is what I mentioned earlier about model disagreement. Access is showing a weak upper trough moving across southeast Queensland Friday, bringing scattered storms, nothing too organised. But the European model has this trough about 100 kilometres further south and deeper, which would mean more widespread severe thunderstorms across the southeast, potentially affecting Brisbane Metro. This is a significant difference because we are talking about the gap between isolated storms and a proper severe weather outbreak. Tomorrow morning, S model runs should clarify this, so definitely check back. Western Australia, you are in your own world as usual. Bunbury at 38. Expecting the Fremantle Doctor to kick in around 1 p.m, dropping you back to 32. Geraldton at 40, staying hot through the weekend. Kalgoorlie in the Goldfields, 44 degrees, extreme fire danger continues. Broome up north, 34 degrees, building afternoon storms. This is pretty standard wet season stuff for you. The thing about Perth, Uri at 41 today, 43 tomorrow, but that 43 feels significantly worse than Adelaide S47 because of the humidity difference. Dew points in Perth are sitting around 22 degrees, making it quite oppressive. South Australia, Mount Gambier currently 39. You'll see that cool change first on Saturday morning. Whyalla at 46, extreme heat continues. Port Augusta 47 degrees. This is some of the most dangerous heat in the country. The mid-north and Eyre Peninsula are all running mid to high 40s. The concern for South Australia is the combination of heat, low humidity and strong northwesterly winds tomorrow. That is the perfect recipe for catastrophic fire weather. Tasmania, URA the refuge, Launceston at 27, Devonport at 25. Beautiful conditions continuing through the weekend. Strahan on the west coast, 22 degrees with a bit of rain, nothing significant. You're basically in a different country compared to the mainland right now. Northern Territory, Alice Springs at 43, pretty standard for this time of year. Katherine at 35, afternoon storms developing. The whole top end is in the monsoon pattern, which means Darwin, Hulunbuy and Jabiru are all getting daily afternoon storms. These aren't severe, just the typical wet season thunderstorms dumping 20 to 40 millimetres in an hour, then moving on. Ake Canberra S, sitting at 42 today, 40 tomorrow. Winds are going to be the issue Friday. Northwesterlies gusting to 70 kilometres per hour ahead of the change. That is concerning for fire spread if anything ignites. Now, there's one thing that S got me watching closely, and it affects everyone east of the ranges. This cool change coming through Saturday, it's not just a temperature drop. Behind the front, we are seeing the potential for severe thunderstorms developing across central and northern New South Wales Saturday afternoon into Sunday. Early model guidance shows decent wind shear and instability combining. We could be looking at supercells, large hail, damaging winds, heavy rain. The uncertainty right now is exactly where this sets up. Could be anywhere from the Hunter Valley to the northern rivers. That is a huge area, and we'll narrow it down tomorrow as the models come into better agreement. If there is one thing to remember from this forecast, it is that Saturday is the transition day. Everything changes. Southern Australia goes from extreme heat to cool, but that creates the environment for severe weather further north. It's a classic autumn pattern, actually, even though we're still in summer. Let me check Access R for some finer details. Yeah, look, for southeast Queensland, this model run is showing storms developing west of Brisbane around 2 p.m. Friday, tracking east-northeast. Brisbane Metro, you do see those storms between 4 and 7 p.m. Some could be severe with heavy rainfall rates. The Gold Coast and northern New South Wales coast could cop the tail end of this between 8 and 11 p.m. Rainfall totals, we're re-looking at 20 to 50 millimetres where storms occur, but it'll be very hit and miss. Some areas might get nothing. Hang on, let me clarify something about the fire danger. When I say extreme or catastrophic, that doesn't mean fires will start. It means if a fire starts, it will be extremely difficult or impossible to control. Don't go into panic mode, but do take it seriously. Check the CFA or RFS websites for your local area. Know your bushfire plan. And if you're in a high-risk zone, maybe today is the day to visit family in town. For the weekend breakdown by state, New South Wales, Saturday starts hot in the north, mild in the south after the change. Sunday mild everywhere, but watch for those storms in central and northern regions. Victoria, Saturday beautiful after that shocking heat. Mid-20s, sunny. Sunday similar. Queensland, Saturday and Sunday, typical summer pattern. Hot inland, comfortable coast. Afternoon storms inland and ranges. South Australia, Saturday the relief finally arrives. 28 in Adelaide, Sunday similar. Western Australia, no significant changes. Typical summer heat continues. Tasmania, perfect weather continues, low to mid-20s. Northern Territory, the wet continues, daily storms. Rainfall specifics, southeast Queensland, if those storms fire up properly Friday, isolated totals could hit 80 to 100 millimetres, but that is very localised. Most areas will see 10 to 30 millimetres at best. Northern New South Wales coast, Coffs Harbour, Byron Bay, Ballina, you could see 40 to 60 millimetres Friday into Saturday. Victoria, minimal rain with the change, maybe 5 millimetres at most. South Australia, the change is dry, no rain expected. Tasmania, west coast showers continue, 10 to 20 millimetres, nothing significant. Northern Territory, Darwin could rack up another 100 to 150 millimetres over the next 3 days, but that just normal wet season totals. Wind Friday, strong northwesterlies across SA, Victoria, southern New South Wales, so 60 to 80 kilometres per hour. Gusts potentially higher in elevated areas. That fire weather winds. Saturday, as the change moves through, winds will shift southwesterly and increase. Coastal areas of New South Wales could see southerly winds gusting to 90 kilometres per hour, particularly elevated headlands. That strong enough to cause some tree damage, especially with leaves still on trees this time of year. Beach conditions for the southeastern states are going to be interesting Friday. Winds are offshore initially, so waves will be relatively clean, but building, Saturday and Sunday, strong southerly swell developing 2 to 3 metres on exposed beaches. Great for experienced surfers, dangerous for everyone else. Rips will be intense. If you are not confident in the surf, stay out. Simple as that. Models are also showing something interesting for next week. There is the potential for an East Coast low developing Monday or Tuesday off the southern New South Wales coast. Now, I am not going to get ahead of myself because these systems are notoriously difficult to forecast more than 48 hours out, but it is something to keep an eye on. If it develops closer to the coast, we're talking significant rainfall for Sydney, Wollongong and the south coast. If it develops further offshore, minimal impacts. We'll have a much better idea over the weekend. So yeah, check back tomorrow for updates on that. Right, around the 3-minute mark, I mentioned dropping your location in the comments. Seriously, do that now. I go through them every night and try to hit as many specific areas as possible in the next day's forecast. If you're in a small town and want to know your specific outlook, comment below. I can get to everyone, but I'll do my best. Climate-wise, we're in neutral ENSO conditions, no strong Pacific influences. This is a typical summer heat event on the stronger end of the spectrum. The feels like temperature is worth discussing. Adelaide at 47 degrees with 15% humidity feels different to Brisbane at 34 degrees with 70% humidity. Both are unpleasant, but in different ways. That dry heat in Adelaide is deceptive. You might not feel like you are sweating because it evaporates instantly, but you are losing fluids rapidly. Drink water constantly, even if you don't feel thirsty. Brisbane's humidity makes you feel gross and sweaty, but at least you know you need water. Both situations require hydration. For farmers and anyone with livestock, this heat is critical. Make sure animals have access to shade and plenty of water. Stock losses happen quickly in heat like this. Check on them multiple times a day if possible. Looking at the broader pattern, this heat is being driven by that persistent high over the Tasman, maintaining northwesterly flow, dragging tropical air down from Queensland and Northern Territory. There is also a blocking pattern in the upper atmosphere, preventing cool air from the Southern Ocean pushing through. This pattern has been locked in for about 10 days now, and it is finally breaking down this weekend. But these breakdowns often come with volatile weather, which is why I am concerned about Saturday's severe weather potential. Drop your location in the comments because I go through them nightly and hit specific areas in tomorrow's forecast. Bit of a rough trot for southern Australia with this heat, but relief is coming. For northern Australia, it's just the wet doing its thing. For eastern Australia, we're in this transition zone between the two patterns, which makes forecasting trickier, but also more interesting. One concern I haven't mentioned yet, power grid stability. When everyone cranks their air conditioning simultaneously during extreme heat, grid stability becomes an issue. Follow any advice from energy authorities about reducing consumption during peak periods if requested. Brownouts or blackouts during heat waves are dangerous because people can cool down. Health reminder, extreme heat kills more Australians than all other natural disasters combined. Check on elderly neighbours, people living alone, anyone vulnerable. Make sure they've got working air conditioning or access to somewhere cool. Keep pets inside during the hottest parts of the day. Don't leave kids or animals in cars, not even for a minute. These sound obvious, but people die every year because someone thought it'd be fine. A quick recap before we wrap up. Extreme heat continues through Friday for South Australia, Victoria, inland New South Wales and Western Australia. Cool change Saturday, dramatic temperature drops. Severe thunderstorm potential southeast Queensland Friday and more widespread severe weather possible New South Wales Saturday into Sunday. Models still working out exact details, so uncertainty remains. Tasmania staying beautiful, Northern Territory continuing normal wet season patterns. Now, I will be honest with you, forecasting this transition period is challenging. The timing of that cool change could vary by 6 hours either way. The severity and location of Friday's Queensland storms could shift significantly. Saturday's severe weather potential is even more uncertain. That SY tomorrow's update is crucial. Overnight model runs will give us much better clarity. I'll have specific timing for the change, updated severe weather risk areas, and hopefully confirmation on that East Coast low potential for next week. For tomorrow's forecast, I am particularly interested in seeing how Access handles that Queensland trough. If it trends toward the European solution, I will be issuing stronger warnings for Brisbane and the Gold Coast. If it stays with the current Access solution, it'll be more subdued. That is the difference between telling people to prepare for severe storms versus just typical summer thunderstorms. Appreciate everyone watching and commenting. Your engagement helps me understand what information you actually need, not just what I think you need. Weather affects everyone differently depending on your situation, location and plans. Tomorrow, S video will be up by 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, covering the updated weekend forecast, specific timing for that cool change and the latest on severe weather risks. If conditions change significantly before then, I'll post updates on the community tab. Chuck your location in the comments. Let me know what weather you are seeing, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe out there, especially if you're in those extreme heat or high fire danger